My name is Carl Oliver, and I'm from Gainesville, Florida. I'm a stay-at-home dad and a full-time bladesmith. I've made some crazy hammers, crazy axes. My friends always say if the apocalypse happens, I'm the first one that they're going to come to save the day.
I am David McConnell, and I am 38 years old. I'm a little on the short side, so that kind of drives me, especially when people talk crap. I want to be able to prove that I can hang with the big boys.
My name is Jordan Lamotte. I'm 21 years old. I've been making knives about 5 or 6 years. I often try to incorporate embellishment from Lord of the Rings. I'm certainly a Lord of the Rings fan.
My name is Rick Fenlon. I'm 57 years old, and I live in Ponce de Leon, Florida. I retired as a police officer in 2006, and I started bladesmithing in 2011. I put my heart and soul into my blades. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. My granddaughter could do this to me, too, pretty much regularly.
Good morning, bladesmiths, and welcome to The Forge. You're here to demonstrate that you deserve to be called a Forged and Fire champion and walk away with a check for 10 grand. Let's go ahead and meet our judges. World-famous bladesmith, Jason Knight. Historic weapons recreation specialist, David Baker. Kali martial artist and edge weapon specialist, Doug Marcaida. All right, bladesmiths, we're just gonna jump right into this today. We wanna see what you're actually capable of. What we're going to do is take odd shapes of mystery steel and have you make your signature blade with those. You will come up one at a time in an order that was randomly chosen, and you will choose your piece of mystery steel out of this barrel. Is anybody nervous yet?
There's no telling what's in there. It could be something easy or something that is impossible to work with.
Jordan, you're up first. Choose your steel. You've chosen 1084 cable.
1084. It's great for me because most of my knives are made out of that steel. But I've never forged anything out of this round cable, so I'm pretty nervous.
Carl, you're up next.
I pull out the W2, and I'm like, oh, hell, I've got to forge weld this. I've never forge welded before, not with any kind of success.
David, you're up. Choose your steel.
I end up with 1095 cylinders, 9 of them to be exact. The metal's not difficult. It's trying to weld a cylinder to another cylinder.
Rick, you're up. Choose your steel. That is a coil of 5160.
It's just a very thick piece of steel, and you have to figure out some way to get it straight.
You have 10 minutes to work on your designs. You will have 3 hours to forge your blades. Keep in mind that in the second round, you'll be putting handles on your blades to turn them into fully functional weapons. They will then be tested for strength and durability in a terracotta tile chop and for edge retention in a tatami mat slicing. Good luck, bladesmiths. Your 10-minute design window starts now.
My favorite here is the W2.
Why is that your favorite, dude?
Because that is the ultimate steel on the earth for making knives out of, if you know how to make a knife out of it.
So you're saying there's tricks?
Basically, you quench it in oil, because if you quench it in water, you have about a 75% chance of it cracking.
For the challenge, I'm going to make a chopper. It should do well on terracotta chop because it has a thicker spine. It can take a better blow. The hardest part is the forge welding, something new I've never done before. So I just need to step up my game, do the best I can.
My signature blade, I would say, is a Viking sax. I think the sax would be a good design because it has a broken back. I'm going to make it with a heavier spine and probably a slimmer edge. So the heaviness will help get through the terracotta, and the thinner edge will help with the slicing.
The design for my blade is a very large straight back hunter with a recurve. The straight back hunter is something that I make quite often. I think it'll do very well with the chopping of the terracotta. It's a pretty robust blade.
I'm gonna go for a design of a camp knife with a slight recurve. Recurve is helpful with chopping because you get a little bit more bite in the cut, and that's really helpful with cutting something thick and juicy like tatami mats. I'm not a typical 21-year-old. I'm really ready to prove that even though I'm young, I am ready to start a career as a bladesmith making some of the finest knives in the world.
Bladesmiths, drop your pencils. Your design window is closed. Your 3-hour forge time starts now. Jordan threw his cable immediately into the fire. He didn't clean it, he didn't do nothing, he didn't spray it.
I've read a lot about how to make cable Damascus, and it's gonna be okay. First thing, stick it in the forge. There's not a moment to lose when it comes to just heating it up.
Hey, he's bleeding.
He is bleeding.
Pinch my thumb in the vise. A couple minutes and I've already hurt myself. What am I, like the young guy making a fool of himself?
Come on, baby, heat up.
The first thing I got to do is uncoil it. I want to get it as hot as possible before I can get it into the pole vise.
It looks like Rick's got that coil out.
Yeah.
It's already turning gray.
Rick is suffering from not heating the steel hot enough before he begins to work it.
That's not good.
He's got the leverage going the wrong direction.
The wrong thing's bending.
I got the coil spring in the vise, and I'm started to get somewhere, so now I'm just really banging away on that thing until I get it straight.
Fight me at every step.
How the heck am I going to do the rest of this challenge now after I've expended almost everything I got just to get this thing straightened out?
Thing is fraying like crazy. Time to cut off the end. Weld the thing together so that it's not gonna fray. The hardest part about using the cylinders is I have to make them square first and then put them together and forge weld them.
If he took those rounds and welded them in a little bundle and went over to one of the presses and just pushed that bundle together, that would be much easier.
I don't know if David can do that, but I know I can do it.
After I did 2 or 3 welding heats and consolidated the billet, I knew it was solid. Yeah, I got this.
Over here, it looks like Carl's trying to forge weld.
Well, no forge welding has actually happened in there.
It's a thick W2 steel. I had 2 pieces, so I'm going to heat them up separately, draw them out, make them flatter and thinner, and forge weld them together.
Carl just stuck his face right in the fire. Maybe he's fireproof.
This will be my first forge weld ever.
Forge welding is a new adventure for me. I have no clue what I'm doing. So I'm gonna work at it my best and see if I can get this weld to stick.
Carl burned himself.
That hurts.
Look at that hand.
I'm actually not surprised. He's got his hands all the way in the forge. You saw him with his face in the forge.
It's starting to blister.
It is?
Yeah. It's hard to bend my hand now. Get a grip.
And if it's the palm of his hand, that's going to be a huge issue. Because that's the hand you got to hold stuff in.
I mean, I can imagine having to continue on with that burning feeling in your hand. It's swelling, you got a blister on there.
Try to cool it down under water. Take away from your time.
Yeah, no, I'll keep going.
You can't stop. This is a competition. You're on a time limit. Pick up where you left off.
You have just 2 hours remaining to finish your work.
Now that I've got a cable welded, I'm gonna take it to the power hammer and really try to refine those welds, get the corners all pounded in, and then I'll have a bar that I can use to forge.
Jordan's blade actually looks great.
One thing that most people don't know from just looking at me is that I'm very musically inclined. I wrote a song recently that pertains to blacksmithing. Oh, I'm a mighty smith by trade, from chain and hook to axe and blade. I forge it all with my trusty sledge and sweat all day, so I can pledge my work won't be delayed.
I don't like that bulge. I guess I can grind that off.
I'm feeling like I'm seeing good progress, but I am still completely wore out.
I'm gonna go over to the vise and cut my clip with the angle grinder. I could actually forge it out, but that would be another hour's worth of work, and I don't have that much time.
Hey, can you guys just watch what's happening over here with Rick?
Looks like Rick is basically gonna grind his blade into shape.
I don't recommend doing that. It is not what an experienced smith does. I don't even want to watch this. I can't watch it.
Right now, I kind of got the forge weld to stick, but it's a little rough. I'm a little nervous. I'm hoping some of my welds that didn't take are only on the surface.
Woo! Yeah, it's really red.
Yeah, he's overheating.
Somebody keep an eye on Carl.
I'm a Florida boy, and I thought this heat wouldn't be anything for me, but holy...
What? Starting to feel like real lightheaded and losing all my strength. Step outside and cool up. Just for a minute, yeah.
He's overheating a little bit. At least he had the wherewithal to say, hey, I need to step outside. He's catching some air.
It's a frustrating moment that I have to sit out with medic. I've got to get my together.
Now Round one, Carl is taking some licks.
How do you feel? Feeling better.
Want to go back and give it a shot?
Yeah, let's do it.
Behind you. There we go.
All right.
I'm not a quitter. I'm gonna finish this thing. Hell or high water.
2 hours into the challenge, I'm feeling great.
My blade, it looks pretty good so far. I got no cracks yet.
So now I go to heat treat my blade. I'm a bit nervous. If the small cylinders didn't weld together, I'm going home. And waiting to hear the bad signs, but nothing. I was trying not to jump up and down, because
Right now, my muscles are cramping up. I'm just hoping that I can get this done physically.
Originally planned on doing a handguard. Hell with that. I'm not doing that.
I want to quench only the edge of the blade so that it'll get a harder edge.
This is it. Here we go.
And the spine will stay flexible so it has good shock absorption.
Oh, there he goes. So Jordan just quenched. Ah! Whoa!
Oh, that's not good.
Dropping a red-hot piece of steel into water could cause some serious internal issues.
It's not something you want to do.
I dropped the entire thing in the water. So there's a possibility that there are cracks in there because of that quench. So I'm gonna do a second quench.
With 10 minutes left, I'm a total mess. I'm still a little weak and I'm having trouble standing, but I want to get this quench done. After I pull it out of my quench, I'm still feeling like crap.
How do you feel? Yeah, I'm starting to feel worse than I did earlier.
My head's spinning and I'm doing all I can just to function.
Want to go back outside?
Yeah, just for a minute.
Can you be back in 2?
2.
Yes. Thank you.
You timing that?
Woo! I want to be back in time. I want to finish this thing through.
I just knew if I went any further, you know, on my blade, I'd hurt myself.
My family drives me. I don't want to disappoint them. I'm not a quitter. I'm going to finish this thing. And I want to instill on my kids, don't ever give up.
Forget it. Yep.
Let's do it.
Carl, 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 Carl.
Carl's been dealing with a major burn for the majority of this competition. It's gotta be painful, and he still never gave up.
He's the toughest I've ever met.
My blade is rough, but there's nothing I can do.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines, drop your tools, secure your blades, and head back to your anvils. Your forging time is over.
Not really happy with my blade, but I do have a blade, but quite ugly.
I'm looking at my blade and it's rough, but I'm hoping the judges focus on, you know, seeing the potential of my blade and how badass it might be.
Bladesmiths, over the course of the last 3 hours, each of you has taken an odd-shaped piece of steel and turned it into a signature blade in your signature style. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Rick, you're up first. Please present your work to the judges.
Rick, you were having a battle out there with that spring, weren't you?
To say the least. I mean, it took everything out of me.
I was noticing that you just chopped this off to make your point instead of forging it. But I commend you for sticking through it, getting something turned in, having a knife.
Jordan, you're up.
Jordan, overall, it was really good to watch the way you work. And you turned out a very good-looking blade, but you accidentally dropped it on water. So it remains to be seen what the structure of this blade is, but you didn't give up. Good job.
David, you're next. Please present your work to the judges.
Well, when I was watching you forge, I was impressed by you taking that big bundle of steel and getting it all to stick together. And you have really clean welds here. And your grind is nice. The only part I don't really understand is this little cutout, but if it's a design feature, that's fine. But overall, you did good. That's a big old knife.
Yes, it is.
Carl, you're up.
Carl, you may be the person who's been injured more in one forging session than anyone else on the history of the show.
Oh, wow.
I commend you on your effort, but I am agitated with you for taking two perfectly good pieces of W2 and turning it into scrap metal right here.
Right.
The blade is rough, it's halfway forged, but it's the least finished of all of them.
I could see where your design idea was going.
Right.
And I actually like it. I'm a little worried that, I can see these seams.
Right.
That I don't think it welded up quite right.
Bladesmiths, this is a tough competition. Unfortunately, this time, it was an easy decision. Carl, your blade did not make the cut. Dave will explain.
Carl, you fought a tough fight out there, but with that heat getting to you and the time you lost when you were off the forge floor, you didn't get that blade finished nearly as far as our other smiths. And the big thing is, your forge welds didn't take. You have visible seams in your blade. That's the reason we're letting you go.
Okay.
Carl, please surrender your blade.
I was hoping for a different outcome, but that's all I could physically do at that time.
Give me the good hand.
Oh, sorry. I enjoyed this experience wholeheartedly. I've always instilled in my children, never give up. You got a passionate thing, keep going. And I'm a champion of my family, and that's all that matters. Sorry.
Congratulations, Bladesmiths. You've made it to the second round. In this round, you'll be taking your tempered blades and turning them into fully functional weapons by attaching handles to them. You will have 3 hours in this round. Use that time wisely, because when the time runs out, one of you will have to surrender his weapon and leave the forge. Good luck, Bladesmiths. Your 3 hours starts now.
A good formula is use as much steel inside of that handle as you can possibly fit without compromising the balance. So you don't want it to be too small. You don't want it to be too big. You want it to be just right. Wow. What's Jordan doing?
I'm heating the back with the torch so that it softens it a bit, so that it won't break when it chops through the terracotta. I keep the edge of the blade in the water tub so that that doesn't overheat. Oops. Gosh, seem to like diving into this bucket.
Jordan has dropped his entire blade once again into the water barrel. There you go. What does that do to his temper?
When Jordan dropped that in the water, it was not glowing red. So it shouldn't have been hot enough to really affect it that much.
I feel great going to round 2. Decisions. What about this? It wouldn't be too bad. I went with the carbon fiber looking micarta because it was the first thing I found. I am gonna make a 2-piece handle, coffin style handle, and it's just 2 scales on a full tang knife. I have plans of putting yellow liners in to offset the dark handle scales. You gotta have that one thing that just catches somebody's eye.
You know, David's been a cool customer. He hasn't let anything fluster him.
As of right now, I don't have any concerns. I'm sure that will change soon.
Who's got the most work to do, Jason?
The most work to do will be Rick.
First thing priority is to get a hole in this. I gotta make sure that I can drill the rivet holes for the handle. So I'm hoping that it'll be boom, boom, boom. I get the holes in, I'm done with that. Oh, turn off, stop. Lost my drill bit, got stuck in that thing. This is not good. You know, I gotta tighten this down good. When it gets stuck like that, it goes shoo and hits you. Should go through pretty easily now, but we'll see.
Rick is not making progress. It's a good way to get burned.
He really should have drilled those holes before he hardened that blade. That would have been the smart thing to do.
I don't have a lot of time to fix my mistakes on the blade from the first round. And this drill press, it's taken me some extra time.
And tell me if he's even using that piece of machinery correctly?
No, he's not.
I got stuck again. Damn.
What the hell is he doing?
It's really improvising here now. My blade wasn't even close to Dave or Jordan's. I don't have a lot of time to fix my mistakes on the blade from the first round. Oh, no. All right, we're through.
There we go.
All right, now we got to get to the grinder.
Oh, gosh. I'm spending a lot of time in the pantry because I really want to make sure that I make the right decision for materials. I'm looking for something that's really strong. So I finally settle on black palm handle scales and carbon fiber. So when I drill my first handle scale, I realized that it didn't really line up perfectly. It's a little bit frustrating because I know that time is ticking.
I've come to the conclusion that I can't use the yellow liners. due to the fact that the handle on my knife is so thick. It's a big deal to me because it was part of the plan, and now the plan has changed. I'm afraid the judges are gonna say that I didn't do enough in the time allotted because my handle's so plain.
That's not too bad, really. I want the handle to be really secure to the tang, so with the Corby rivets, I'm also using epoxy. If it's not hard enough, when I start grinding, it'll actually start melting the epoxy. So I'm thinking all of this while it's sitting in the vise and staring at the clock.
Try fast.
Heck with it. I'm just gonna take it out now, and I'm gonna go over to the grinder and start grinding and hope epoxy doesn't melt.
Oh, God. All right, I'm not used to this at all.
I wish I had another hour or two so I can do this blade so much better, but I don't.
Bladesmiths, less than 10 minutes remains on that clock.
I wish there were just 10 more minutes because I could really do my best work with just a little bit more time. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put the edge on my blade because that's a much more important part of the competition. Because if it doesn't cut, then it's not a knife. But it's not gonna look as good as I'd like it to.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, drop your tools, secure your blades, head back to your anvils.
I so much wanted to do so much more to the blade, but it is what it is, and I hope it performs well.
Bladesmiths, this is the strength and durability test. I'll be taking your blades and hammering them into these terracotta tiles. Remember, it's not about what your blade does to these tiles, it's about what these terracotta tiles do to your blades. David, you ready?
Absolutely. When I saw that Jason was going to use the hammer to drive the blade through the terracotta, I was like, oh, I wasn't planning on blunt force trauma to the back of my blade.
Well, David, no damage, no cracks. One of the things that I don't like about your knife is you left the back square right here. I would like to have seen you round this back off a lot more. But overall, not bad. Jordan, are you ready?
Go for it.
All right.
When I drop the blade in the water, that quick change in temperature worries me because if there are any cracks, the blade could fail catastrophically. Oh gosh, please don't break.
I was a little concerned about this edge, but virtually no damage. Just this little ding from the hammer, but that's to be expected. Rick, you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
It is a really thick edge, so this actually was well designed for cutting through the terracotta tile. But you have some edge damage. Wherever we laid it on the tile and hammered it, that's where your edge is not sharp anymore.
I really didn't get as nice an edge on the blade as I wanted to. With the matte slice, I'm really thinking my blade's not going to do good at all.
Bladesmiths, to see how sharp your blades are, I will take your weapon and I will deliver a slash across these tatami mats. Dave, you're up first. You ready?
Absolutely.
Let's do this. I like the overall shape of your blade. It's got a wide taper that goes into the edge of your blade. So when you cut, definitely lacerate it through and cut through the first part of the tatami mat. Overall, your blade will cut. Jordan, you're up. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Let's do that. Well, Jordan, your blade is one of the lightest and skinniest, but it goes to show that you don't need a heavy blade to be able to cut through, and it's plenty sharp. Your blade will cut. Good job.
Thank you.
Rick, you're up next. You ready?
I guess I have to.
Your handle, it's a little bit on the blocky side, but it is enough to grab hold onto. Your edge, the profile you have is thick, so once it cuts through, it hung up in there because these are very tightly wound. But what we are looking for is an edge that will lacerate. Your weapon will cut.
Thanks, Doug.
Good job.
Well, Bladesmiths, the weapons tests are complete and the judges have a final decision to make. While they do that, I'm gonna have you please step off the forge floor.
I still wish I had 10 minutes more.
I think we all would have wished for 10 minutes more.
I wished I had about another hour.
So let's get into the details of these blades, okay? Is there a blade here that performed better than the others?
Jordan's work started off by showing us what patience will do, and patience did pay off. It sliced without any resistance when it went through the tatami mat.
So Jordan is gonna go ahead and move forward in this competition. Okay, let's move on to David's blade.
Oh, boy.
I would have liked to seen him bring that grind up a little, and it may have cut all the way through the tatami. The number 2 thing about David's blade is his handle. It's just a little square.
All he's done is knock the edge off.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our last bladesmith, Rick.
Oh, they're looking at mine. My beast.
Its performance, it lacerates, but the issue, you can really see how it wasn't forged in there, especially what he did where he just cut it out instead of forging the shape of the blade.
All right, gents, I need to know. Doug, have you made your final decision?
Yes, I have.
Dave?
Yep.
Jason?
Yeah, man.
Let's go tell our smiths. Bladesmiths, the judges have made their final decision. It's time for one of you to leave the forge. Rick, your blade did not make the cut. Dave will explain.
Rick, you came through, you turned in a blade that was tested. In the end, it came down to the edge geometry of your blade and the fact that your blade is the least finished of all 3 of our blades. That's the reason we're letting you go.
Rick, please surrender your blade.
I knew that it was going to be difficult, but I've never been this emotional in my entire life. I'm passionate about it. Thank you. From this experience, I've had a tremendous adventure. I think I've made some new friends, but I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go back to my family.
David, Jordan, congratulations. You've made it into the 3rd round of this competition. Good job. If you thought the last 6 hours was tough, it's nothing compared to the next 5 days, because we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate an iconic weapon from history. And that weapon is the Tall War. The Tall War was a lethal and fearsome combat weapon originating in the 1300s. Instrumental to the militia of the Mughal Empire, its curved blade was optimal in delivering repeated blows to human flesh without the danger of getting stuck in bone. The weapon also included a sharp spike attached to the pommel that could be used to strike down opponents in close-quarter combat. When off the battlefield, the Tall War was a sacred sword worn by Sikhs as an article of faith and symbolized their duty to defend the rights of those who were unjustly oppressed. Your final challenge is to forge a Tall War. It must be an effective working version of that weapon. The overall length of your weapon must fall between 35 and 37 inches. The handle must be made entirely out of metal, include a knuckle bow and a flat disc pommel.
I could comfortably make a blade like this in a week, and I can uncomfortably make one in 5 days.
After 5 days, you'll return and present your finished Tall Wars to our panel of expert judges. Only after they've put them through a series of brutal tests will they declare one of you the Forged and Fire champion, who also walks away with that check for 10 grand. Good luck, Bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
My shop's a barn. I share the space with our horse Cricket, and in my forging area, there's no electricity, so all of my forging is done by hand. A little nervous. I've never made anything with such a big curve before. So I'm working on the bevels right now. The curve is starting to happen, so I like to see that. Problem is, the more curve I put in it, the shorter it gets. It's an inch too short. If I'm a 1/4 of an inch off, they're not gonna test my blade. It's a delicate balance between having just enough curve and just enough length. It's a little nerve-wracking. It'd be nice not to have to work at these extremes.
It's day 1. We're at my home forge in Kalkaska, Michigan. Hopefully, today I can get my blade rough forged. That's the plan anyway. I've never done a sword of this magnitude of difficulty, so we'll see how it turns out. I just gotta make it perfect because my competitor is really good. So day one, I'd like to be a little further, of course, but all in all, it's been a good day.
It's day 2. I'm trying to get this blade a little longer to fit the parameters. I'm getting a little worried. This fuller is buckled right here. When the fuller starts to buckle, it means that the wall on either side is really thin and is starting to move around, and there's a danger of grinding through when you go to the grinder. And this fuller is not really behaving the way I want to. I'd rather not risk it. I'm gonna start over. I've wasted a day. This is a nightmare. Back to working on the fuller. I'm a little behind where I hoped I'd be. And I'm exhausted. Finally, I'm gonna call that good.
So it's day 3, and today I'm going to finish my handle. I think I'm gonna get ready to drill this for the handle. The most pressure I feel is getting the handle drilled. Solid metal handle. Gosh. Sucks. Nope. Got hard on me. The Damascus that I made is too hard. I got partially through and found a hard spot. I wasted a lot of time, but I gotta cut my losses and go to plan B. I have no idea what plan B is yet.
All right, day 4. The blade's done. Now it's time for the handle. I've never made an entirely metal handle, and the handle is a tricky piece of forge work, so I'm a little nervous. This is as hard as I expected. It's cracking like crazy. I'm seeing all these cracks in my handle, and I don't have any way to fix them. I'm starting over. Restarting the handle puts me about 5 hours behind. It's gonna be crunch time. I'm ready to be done with this handle. I was determined not to screw it up, and here I am screwing it up again.
Day 5, I had this crazy idea of doing a Damascus handle, but the Damascus that I made was too hard. So we're going plan B, which is the hollow form pipe. Don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. The advantage of this was no drilling. It's pretty much ready to go. And so now we're actually gonna get the blade polished, get the handle welded up, get it epoxied to the blade, feeling relieved, and then chop some stuff. There we go. That makes me happy. Nice.
Bladesmiths, welcome back. You had 5 days at your home forge to work on your tall wars. David, why don't you tell the judges a little bit about yours?
Went really well. I forged it out of 1084, plain high carbon steel. I forged the handle from a piece of pipe.
Did you have fun?
Oh, absolutely.
Jordan, why don't you tell us about your weapon?
I also used 1084 for my blade, and I forged the whole handle out of solid mild steel and blued it, give it a nice patina, and added some brass for flair.
They both look fantastic, but we know that looks are secondary to performance. There will be a strength, a kill, and a sharpness test. Dave?
All right, gentlemen, this is the sharpness test. Now, the Tulwar was a blade respected throughout India. So to test the sharpness of your blade, I'll be cutting into these sugar canes. David, you're up. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right.
I know my weapon's sharp, but there's always that little bit of doubt.
I think the sugar cane speaks for itself. There's a lot of weight in this, but it's not bad. It's balanced very well. So the design of your knuckle bow, being inside where this pommel is, if my hand slips back there, I'm kind of whacking into that. But it's sharp. Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right, Jordan, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this. I just love sabers. This is a cutter. It's fast, it's light, but the profile of your handle could be a little bit larger for my hand, but all in all, the cuts speak for themselves. It just passed through with no resistance whatsoever. Nicely done.
Our blades, they're performing almost identical. This is gonna be tight.
What's a battle-tested weapon? But what kind of lethal damage does this weapon do? To find that out, I will take your weapon and deliver killing blows on this ballistics dummy. David, you're up first. You ready?
Oh yeah.
Let's do this.
Doug in the ballistics dummy, this is the test that I wanted to see. I'm just like super excited.
Your edge of your blade is sharp enough to cut and lacerate the whole torso here, cutting deep and cutting into bones. Same thing with the clavicle over here and into the ribs. Your handle construction is a little bit on the wider side, but it's wieldable. Overall, your weapon will kill. Good job.
Thank you.
Jordan, you're next. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, Jordan, let's talk about your blade. Your edge geometry here definitely lends itself to be a very good thruster. It's sliced in easily. Your edge is razor sharp, that I'm able to lacerate into the dummy and break some bones. Your handle is a little bit on the skinny side, but I'm still able to index and hold on to it. Your weapon will kill.
After this round, it feels like 2-2. Dave and I still feel really even.
All right, gentlemen, this is the strength test. The Tulwar was a battle-tested weapon known to actually take heads in combat. To test the strength and durability of your blades, I'll be chopping 4 times into these beef rib sides. This is not about what your blade does to the beef, but what these ribs do to your blades. All right, Dave, you're up. Ready?
Ready as I'll ever be. A side of beef is extremely tough. It could potentially break a blade or chip a blade or bend a blade, so I'm concerned.
Okay, Dave. I've got a little bit of chipping and rolling right where the impact is. It's not deep, but it is there. All in all, it felt good. All right, Jordan, you ready?
Guess so. I'm pretty nervous. You know, getting through the bone is gonna be tricky, and all I can think is, please don't chip, please don't chip.
Took a little shrapnel off that one. I can run my fingernail along that edge and not feel anything. No bumps, no chips. Still straight, everything's still tight. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm breathing a huge sigh of relief.
But I know that also my handle's a little small, and people have been sent home for handles before.
David, Jordan, both of you have made excellent blades, and you've been fantastic competitors, but in this arena of competition, there can only be one Forged in Fire champion. Before I announce who that is, the judges have some feedback for both of you.
Dave, you brought us a weapon that was a pleasure to use. It's a heavy weapon, but you balanced it out beautifully. Nice job.
Thank you.
Doug?
Jordan, the artistry of your handle is matched by the beauty, strength, and sharpness of your blade. Well done, sir.
Gentlemen, when weapons of this caliber come into this arena, these decisions are never easy. The Forged in Fire champion is Jordan. Congratulations. You were the Forged in Fire champion.
Congratulations.
David, you created a beautiful weapon, and it was a pleasure to use it. And this decision came down to the finest details. Basically, the positioning of that knuckle bow on the handle and those chips that turned up in your blade in the strength test. For those 2 reasons, we're letting you go.
David, please surrender your weapon.
Absolutely no regrets. I would have liked to have done better, but I agree with the judge's decision. I came here to prove that I could hang with some of the best bladesmiths in the United States, and I think I proved that I can do that.
Jordan, congratulations. You are the Forged and Fire champion and will be receiving that check for $10,000. How do you feel right now?
I feel great. And I feel pretty accomplished.
Well, you should.
What a great way to jumpstart my career in making really high-quality blades.
Well done.
This is what I've really wanted for a long time. It's why I came here.
Thank you.
I'm Forged and Fire champion.